Okay, content negotiation. So here we're going to talk about the HTTP media types, and we'll talk about the two annotations, produces and consumes, and we'll talk about content handler, and we'll talk about how client can specify the type of data that it wants to receive. We have an example of specifying accept header in the first presentation. When you're using call to access the customer server application. So basically content negotiation is how client and server negotiate the type of data they can send and receive. Okay, so media types or formats. So we are going to use these two terms interchangeably, media types and formats. So when the client says, I want to receive the response data in the form of XML, the client can specify that in the form of accept header. So in the accept header, client says, give me the data in the form of XML. Okay, so application XML. So the server sends back the data in the form of XML. Okay, and the content type should indicate that the data type is in fact the application XML. Okay. So you can think of when we say representation, we are basically talking about the format of the data. Okay. Okay, so it's using media types that are being used in email to specify the format. So basically, it could be, text HTML, that's the regular web page. JSON, XHTML plus XML, RSS plus XML, RDF XML. I mean, there are many different media types that are being supported in email, and those are all supported in RESTful application. And you can even create your own data type as well. Okay, so regarding the headers, in relation to media type, as I said, client can specify acceptable response formats by specifying specifying value of accept HTTP request header. Okay. Now, how does a client specify request format? So suppose the client has to send some data to the server, for example, creating a brand new item. Then the content type of the request should specify the type so the server can actually digest the data. So it could be XML, it could be JSON or something like that. Lastly, how does a server specify its response format or response type? Again, it would specify the response type format in the form of content type response header. So content type could be used both by the request and the response. Okay, let's move on to produces and consumes annotations. So what is a produces annotation for? It is used to specify media types of a response a resource can produce and send back to the client. What it means is that server says, the types that I can create is these types. So that server resources will use the produces to indicate that. It could be specified at the class level or method level. If you specify it at the class level, then all methods are going to all methods are applied with the same produces. However, if you specify in a method level, it overrides a class level produces annotation. So let's see an example. So in this example, we have class level. We have some resource class. At the class level, we say produces text plain. What it means is that all methods, this class will produce the response in the form of text and plain. Okay, so in the first method, because it doesn't have its own produces annotation, it will inherit the class level produces annotation. So this will it will produce text plain. However, the next method, do get as HTML, it has its own produces annotation. So this will override the class level produces annotation. So this one will produce text HTML rather than text plain. Okay. All right, so let's move on. The choice of media type or the format based on client preference. So client can specify accept header. So if resource class is capable of producing more than one media type, then the resource method chosen will produce the most acceptable media type as declared by the client. Client can actually specify multiple multiple formats, and each of those formats could have in fact some kind of weight. So this is an example. Suppose client has an accept header and it says text plain. In this case, in our previous example, this method will be used to generate a response. Okay, because this method will produce text plain. However, if the accept header contains text plain and the quality or weight is 0.9, so and that text HTML, this one has the weight is 1.0, so this is preferred over text plain. So if there is a method that can generate text HTML, that will be used. In our previous example, we have in fact a method that will produce text HTML format. So this method will be used to produce the result. Now, suppose we do not have any method that generate text HTML, then text plain will be adopted. Okay, so in our previous example, suppose I don't have this method. Then we have only a method that produces the text plain. In that case, it will be it will produce text plain. Okay, so this is 90% preference and this is 100% preference. So this will be used if there is a method that does produce text HTML. Okay. Now, if there is no method in the resource that can produce any of these that are specified in the accept header, then the server should send back 406 error. So 406 is not acceptable, meaning the client asks for a particular type, but server cannot produce it. Okay, so that is 406 error condition. Okay, so this is an example. So here we have, now you can specify in fact a multiple type for the value of produces. In this case, it will produce either XML or JSON. Okay, so if a client wants XML, it will generate an XML. If the client wants JSON format, then it will generate the JSON. And it could also actually specify the quality factor. The quality factor could be specified on the server side as well. So if the client says, I don't really care, I can take either XML or JSON. Both of them have the same weight as far as the client is concerned, right? Then it will be determined at the server level. So the server says, I can generate JSON for 100% preference, and XML I'm gonna generate on 90% preference. Okay, in that case, this JSON will be used to produce to the client as a data. JSON will be used as a preferred data format to be sent to the client. If both of them are the same, then the first will be used. Okay. Okay, so let's do exercise 1, 2, 3, 4, and okay, so let's take a look at the lab documentation, and lab documentation is labs and the content negotiation. Okay, so here so let's actually okay, so I have already imported the project. Exercise 1, we want to produce HTML, so we're going to actually run format produces HTML. Format produces HTML. Let's actually run this application. Okay, so let's actually take a look at the it will generate so in this case, if you take a look at the accept header, the text HTML is actually, so click this guy and this is what you get. So text HTML 100% and or application XHTML or XML, and XML. Oh, this one, XML is basically 0.9 quality, and image web BP is 100%. Oh, this is actually again 0.8. Okay, so obviously HTML is basically preferred format, so that's what we actually send back. Okay, so this is HTML. So if you take a look at the code, so we have here, this is the same code that we have seen in the slide. So we have produces annotation at the class level, and this method is used when we generate the text plain, and this one is the generating text HTML. So in this case, it will generate we are basically this is what gets returned. Okay, basically we're just displaying a set header. Okay, for your own exercise, I want you to add a method called the doGetXML and produces the application XML format response data, which returns greeting, hello, greeting as a return type. Okay, and you can actually test this guy as a call command. So let me actually demonstrate this guy. So here in HTML here, and user resources, right? So here we are going to generate. So I'm going to just copy this command, this method get, and what we want to do in fact is XML, right? And I'm going to say do get as XML, and here basically we are going to just say greeting and hello and greeting like this. Okay, okay, so let's actually save the change, and let's see whether that gets redeployed. Okay, all right, so it gets redeployed. So yeah, we want to actually specify, we have to use the curl command, because in the browser we cannot actually send this application XML as a preferred format. So I am going to copy this code, and let's see here. Okay, so you can see, let's see, error. Okay, so it's an error. Why is an error? So let's see why we are getting an error in this case. The error code is so it's a 4.6, not applicable. So the client asks for application XML. Oh, the reason is because if you take a look at this guy, okay, so we supposed to produce this XML. Oh yeah, we should say application XML. Sorry. Application XML. Did I say that here? Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, I specified application XML. All right, so now we should be able to you have to again use the curl command. Okay, so use the curl command, and it should actually display. Yeah, it returns greeting. Okay, so let me just clear the screen and try again, and it returns greeting, hello. Here. Okay, so basically in this exercise, we can actually see this method is being invoked depending on what produces annotation is associated with. Okay, all right, so maybe if you want to try JSON here, and JSON, and yeah, this one certainly want to be, we want to have a JSON object like this, and name equals Sang or something like that. What's wrong with this guy? The syntax are on tokens, delete. Oh, maybe I need to have this escape. Okay, so let's actually try JSON here, and now we can say JSON. Okay, so it returns JSON data. Okay, so that is exercise 1. Yeah, so exercise 2, we are doing actually produces in XML and JSON, right? So let's actually run the XML and JSON. Yeah, okay, produces XML and JSON app. Produces. Yeah, so format produces XML and JSON. So let's run this application. Run on server. Okay, the server. So, basically we are trying to access the data in the form of XML and JSON. Okay. In this case, you can see these produces annotations are supposed to be associated with the method. Okay. All right. So, okay. So we're gonna try. This one is trying to get XML, Sang, and get XML2, second person. And this is getting person in the form of JSON, and this one is again trying to get the second person in the form of JSON. All right, so if you take a look at the code, so this method is used to produces XML. Okay, and again this is the XML as well. Yeah, so we're gonna actually learn how to create a response in the form of XML and JSON. So for now, just accept this one. There are 2 different ways that we can actually create a response. Okay, all right. Either one is fine, but for now, don't worry about this code. The focus on this produces. This is producing XML. Same thing with this guy, and basically we have 2 different ways of creating response. All right. This one is for getting the same data in the form of JSON. So we say JSON, and the same thing for this guy. All right. So again, don't worry about the code here and here for now. Okay. Focus on produces. So for your exercise, create a student class with a string, name, and age fields, and start student resource and result returns the student data in both XML and JSON formats. Add code to index.jsp to access the student resource. So basically, you're simulating this user, the code with the student. That's all. Right, so that's exercise 2.3. Exercise 3 is actually we can produce this not only JSON and XML, we can also produce this the image. Okay, so by the way, in order to if you take a look at the code, let's see, let me just show the code. Image. So here, the server side will try to get the image from Duke PNG. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is create some directory called test files and copy the data, the image files that are provided in this code, in this zip file. So what I mean by that is here we go to content negotiation. So go to content negotiation, and you are going to see test files. So here, test files. Oops. Test file. So this is the directory that contains some image, PNG file and JPG file. So copy this test files into in my case, test files like this. Okay. So now I have in the test files directory in the root that contains these images. Okay, so in the code, basically it's going to access the local files. If you're using Mac or Linux, just copy these files into your whatever preferred location, and then just change this code to specify that directory. Okay. All right. So now if I run this application, the client is asking for the image. So the server has to produce this image JPG file. Okay, so let's see how that works for now, and we'll take a look at the code. Okay, so get image. Yeah, it's gonna actually display the Duke image, and if you see the URI, if you see the URI here, yeah. So we are okay. It's get image and okay. So we'll take a look at the. It's gonna produce the image. Here's image 2. Okay, image 2. Okay, so it looks like it's the same image. Anyway, so here if you take a look at the the code. So make sure that you have that doc image. And so here, yeah, so what's important is actually produces image PNG file. Okay, so this method will be used to produce image PNG file. Okay, same thing with this guy. So I mean, again, don't worry about how the image is actually being returned, and just focus on the um, the the produces annotation. Okay, so in the client side code, let's actually see the source file here. Let's see. So source file is get image. Yeah, actually get image method is resources user get image, and so produces. Oh, okay. So if you take a look at, in fact, the I was trying to actually find out what is the accept header case, right? So here, if you actually select the open the developer tool, if you click this guy, you will actually see the accept header. Actually, one of the option is, in fact, so if you see accept header, text HTML, that's 100% preference, and HTML XML, and then XML, and then image, the image web DP and the star and star. What that means is that if there is no method that can generate any of this guy, then I will take a response that is, in fact, the image type. Okay, all right. So that's basically it. If it doesn't, if suppose the accept doesn't actually have this part, all right, then there is no method that can handle that accept. So it's going to return what error code is gonna return. Suppose client didn't send this part. Anybody? What is the error code that server is going to return? 406. Excellent. Yeah, so it's going to be returning 406 because there is no method that can generate any of this type. Okay, all right, so that is the image, and try your own image. If you have any PNG file or JPG file, then try to access it. The next one is PDF file. So the URL extension app. So let's actually see URL extension. Oh, this is the one. So let's run this code and start. So when this guy, we should actually receive the form in the form of a PDF file. So we should actually have a PDF. Let me see whether test file is in fact of a PDF. Oh, it does. Okay. And then, okay, so oh, this is not the one that I was looking for. The URL extension, is that the sample application I'm running? Let me just close other tabs. Oh, so it's actually content negotiation URL extension. That's not what I was looking for. I was actually oh, PDF. Yeah, this is the one I was actually format produces PDF. So I have to actually change the documentation. So it should be produces PDF, right? So run PDF. This guy run on server and finish. Restart the server. Okay, and now if I click this guy, it should actually generate a PDF file. Okay, get PDF, and Okay, so this is the contents of test PDF file. Okay, all right, so that is a PDF. I think that's actually okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna let you do the exercise 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically focus on produces. I'll give you about 20 minutes to do this exercise.